Creating a compelling product description. In this lesson, you're going to discover how to create your product description and also how you can format it correctly. So the product description is the last text element you control that your customer will see. This does not mean it is not important, far from it. By the time someone gets to the product description, they're looking for confirmation that they should buy this product. So they're really itching to buy at that point. They just want to make sure first. So what makes a good product description? Firstly, it reassures them that this product is exactly the product they are looking for. It recaps the product features and it recaps the benefits of the product features. And it removes risk and asks for the sale and uses many of your keywords as possible. But again, do not just stuff the description with keywords. Product description principles. First, it is properly formatted and easily readable. And I'm going to show you how to do this. It is written in clear, conversational, yet professional English. And it lets the buyer know that this product will deliver on its promise. And it lets the buyer know there is no risk in giving the product a try. And lastly, it asks for the sale and tells the buyer what to do next. Formatting. You can use very limited HTML in the product description. And the only tags we recommend you try using are the bold tags you can see here, which is open B and close B, either side of the text you want to bold. Then we've got the paragraph tag, which is open P and close P, and you put those at either end of a paragraph you want to create and create a new line. And for that we use the BR tag, which is an open BR and a close BR. Now I will show you a free site to create this, but it is very simple to use and you only have to worry about these three tags, getting it right. So use as much of the 2000 character limit as you need, remembering that the HTML characters count in that 2000. And do not add text for no reason. Remember relevance, only add content that is relevant to your product. And again, use as many of your keywords as you can and use all your product features and benefits, and then remove risk and also ask for the sale. Now, unlike the title and the bullet points, I'm not actually going to go through and create an entire description because essentially it's pretty much the same as doing the title and especially as doing the bullet points. Just make sure you follow all the instructions in the slides, but I am going to show you a few things. The first thing is this is actually a description. However, you are not going to have access to this kind of description. You're not going to be able to put images in or all the other things they're using. To be able to do that, you need something called brand registry. And Mike is going to be discussing that later in the course. But essentially it's something you can get from Amazon once you've got a trademark for your brand. But again, don't rush into doing anything right now. Mike's going to walk you through what brand registry is later in the course. But with brand registry comes something called enhanced brand content. And with that, you're allowed to include images and even videos in your description. But I just wanted to show you that in case you saw other examples and you thought, hey, why aren't they teaching us how to do that? But let's look at our first example. Now, this is one of the biggest selling brands and biggest sellers on Amazon when it comes to pumps. But you can see their product description is pretty pathetic. There's no real information in it. And more than anything, look at the formatting. It's just 4 sentences, all just crammed into one block of text. And you will see other examples out there where they've got huge blocks of text. It can be 20 or 30 lines worth, and it's just one entire block. It's virtually impossible to read, and people are not even going to look at it. Also, this is so small and there's so little information, someone could scroll straight past this and not even see it. So this is a very poor example. So let's step it up a little bit and look at a slightly better one. Now this one, as you can see, they've got a lot more information and they've made use of one of the tags. They've used the paragraph tag. So at least all this text is split up into 3 blocks. But again, it's not very eye-catching. Your eyes aren't drawn to anything. And they've got very little information in here. So let's step up one more. Now this is much better. You can see they've split up their sentences, they're using bold, and they've got the specifications in here. However, I would say they're overusing the bold tag and they definitely shouldn't be using it in specifications. Now, they're not making use of features and benefits. They do talk about the Presta Schrader and Dunlop compatible. In other words, it works with all those valves. But then it doesn't say why that's a benefit. And don't assume that your prospective customers understand what the benefit of a feature is. You need to tell them. See this one, high pressure pumping to 160 psi. But they do actually add a benefit right at the end where they say inflating up to 160 psi effortless. but it's pretty poor. It's not really telling you much. And even though they're using more formatting, and they've done a pretty good job of that, they've got no call to action, they've got no guarantee, so they're not removing risk, and they're not asking for the sale. So it's something that they should be doing. So we'll look at one more example. So we're getting better. They've split this all up nicely with little headers that are bolded, and these are all features. And you can also see they're adding benefits to these features. For instance, under inflating speed, allows more air to be pushed through with each pump, making it easier and faster to pump. That's a benefit. And our extra long hose with 360-degree pivot will make your pumping easier. So again, it's telling them it's going to make it easier. So they're explaining why this long steel aluminium or aluminum, if you're in America, barrel is a great feature of the product and gives benefits. Again, we've got accurate and easy to read large gauge. So it's a feature. But then you've got large gauge is easy to read and will help you set your desired pressure. It's a benefit. So they've done a very good job. They've also included a 1-year warranty. I would actually say that they could have done a better job with this, and I'll show you an example in a minute of how you can do a better job of that. And they've also included the specifications, and they haven't bolded everything. And again, it just looks cleaner. They've also added the content of the box, which is kind of going the extra mile, I guess. It's not something we say you have to have, but they've missed out on the call to action. And the call to action just needs to be something as simple as go to the top right of the page and click on add to cart, or simply just click on add to cart to get this amazing product, whatever. Something on those lines. It's really simple. And if your potential customers got this far, you might as well tell them exactly what to do to get your product, because if they've got this far, they are definitely interested. And if you've done a good job in the product description of listing the features and benefits of your product, you've removed the risk with the 1-year warranty, and you ask for the sale, then they're far more likely to buy. But let's go see how we create this kind of post with this kind of formatting. So I've gone back to word character count, and I've just put this made up description in, and this is way too short. It's not using enough characters or benefits or features. It's not about that. It's about showing you how to format. But you can see I've started off with, does this sound familiar? You used a bike pump that is not delivered when you need it the most, leaving you stuck on a road or trail far from home. This is just about suggesting a problem, and then the solution is the mini bike pump. And we've got here, whether you're a pro, weekend warrior, or cycling commuter, we know you want and deserve the best, and we have got you covered. So you're telling them that they deserve the best and that you're going to deliver the best. But here's my example of the guarantee. 100% satisfaction guarantee. Our mini bike pump is backed by our manufacturer 30-day money-back guarantee with 1-year free replacement warranty. This really is removing risk from them. So they know if they try it and they don't like it after 30 days, they'll get their money back. But they also know if 2 months, 3 months down the road, it breaks or stops working, that they can get a free replacement. And then we've got the specifications. So we're going to be using 3 tags, and we talked about these. We talked about the bold tag, the paragraph tag, and the create a new line tag, in other words, the BR tag. So I'm going to go through and show you how to do this. When you write your description, write it in terms of the paragraphs, how you want it to appear. So leave the spaces in between paragraphs. It'll make it easy for you to see what you're doing. And we're going to start with paragraphs. And basically all of these are paragraphs down to specifications. So we're going to put in the open P tag, which is the left arrow, P, and then the right arrow. Then at the end of the piece of text, it's the left arrow, / P, and the right arrow. This will now be a paragraph, and I'll show you exactly how this works in a second. So I'm going to speed things up by copying the open tag and then just pasting it in everywhere I need it. And I'll do the same with the close P. So we've got our spacing. Now, before I jump into the bold, I'm actually going to look at the specifications. So I want the line underneath to be the next line. In other words, exactly as you see it on the screen. So it's the left arrow, BR, right arrow. And then after it, it's left arrow, / BR, right arrow. And then we're just going to copy those. So we're telling it that we want each of these on a separate line. Now, if you create this as it is without the tags, and you paste this into Amazon, it will just create one huge block of text. It doesn't take into account that you've left a line between. It will only do that if you use HTML tags. Now, I probably don't need to do the specifications, but I've just gone ahead and done it. And I'm going to show you a tool that's going to make this easier for you to see if you've done it correctly. And also to a certain extent, so it can do it for you. But we've got all our spacing done, and now we want to look at bold. Now, be very careful with bold. You don't want to overdo it. You don't want every other word or even every other 5th word bolded. You want the bold to draw them to where you want them to read. So I'm actually going to make this "does this sound familiar?" question mark bold at the top. To do that, inside the P tag, I'm going to put left arrow, B, right arrow. And then inside the closing P tag, I'm going to put left arrow, / B, right arrow. So I'm going to grab this B for bold, and let's see what else I can bold. So I don't really see anything that jumps out to me in the second line, but I'm going to bold this entire sentence exactly the same as I did the top one. And this you can experiment with. You can see how it looks. I think this might be overdoing it, but we'll see when we put it into the tool I'm going to show you. So whether you're a pro, weekender, or a cycling community, we know you want and deserve the best. So let's say I want to bold "you want and deserve the best." So I'd put the open bold tag in, and then where I wanted it to end, basically after the best, I put the close one. So now that phrase should be bolded. Now for this one, I'm going to bold the 100% satisfaction guarantee, because that is definitely something I want to catch their eye with. So I've put the bold inside the paragraph tag before 100% satisfaction guarantee, and now I'm going to put the closing bold tag. So now satisfaction guarantee should be bolded. So it's enough that that will be bolded, because that will draw their eyes to it and they will read what comes after it. And the last thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to bold the specifications, but I'm not going to do all the specifications in bold, even the beginning. It's just too much. But I could go and bold Presta and Schrader, but I'm all good with this right now. Now, something I'm going to show you in the tool, I'm not going to do it right now, is Amazon count all your HTML tags as characters. But you have 2,000 to work with. It shouldn't be an issue. But you also want to remove the white space. And once you've got all your tags correct, the way you want it, then you can just delete all the gaps in between, because that's what the tags are for. But I'm going to copy all this and we're going to go and see what it looks like. To do that, we're going to a site called wordtohtml.net. That's important. It's .net, not .com, but I'll put it on the screen. So if you put plain text in this box on the left right here, it will give you the HTML on the right. But conversely, if you put the HTML on the right, it will give you the plain text on the left. So I'm going to paste it in, and there you can see we've got it looking exactly how we want it. Now with this limited amount of text, I think there's probably a little bit too much bolding going on, but with more text that's less of an issue. But what you'll notice here on the right is you can see all these spaces in between, and we do want to get rid of those. So let's say I'm happy with my description, it looks how I want it to, then I'd go back and I would just remove all the white spaces in between. So we've got one block of text. I'm going to copy it and then I'm going to paste it in again. And as you can see, it looks fine. It's just how we want it. Now, you're watching this and thinking, why did he show us how to do it when we can just use the plain text on the left? And you can. The only issue is sometimes the HTML editor on the right will pull in incorrect tags. It will use strong. Now strong does work, but what it can also do is it will pull in something called a P1 tag, and you don't want to be using those. And it doesn't always happen, but let's give it a test. I'm going to remove all this, then I'm going to put our text back the way it was. So there's our original post without any formatting. I'm going to go back to Word to HTML and watch this work perfectly. Now, everything appears to have worked perfectly, which is Murphy's Law. However, if you do try doing it this way around, just make sure that there's no tags in here that aren't exactly the same as the ones we've told you about. Now, the only difference there is it might use strong instead of B for bolding. Now, strong should still work. However, it's obviously 5 characters more. So every time you use that tag, it'll be 10 extra characters with the open and close tag. But it's a pretty simple process and I hope you can see that. Just remember, you can use word character count. Whatever you do, don't use Word, as in the Word document. For whatever reason, Word messes up HTML. So don't use that. You can use a normal text editor. You can come in here and use word character count. Obviously, the bonus of using word character count is if I scroll up, you can see it's telling me I've used 635 characters. And as expected, I did say this was fairly short, but if I did double the amount of text, I'd still be way under. So that would be the advantage of using word character count. So just come in here, type it in exactly as you want to appear, add the tags, go to Word to HTML, paste it in there and see if it looks the way you want it to. If not, just come back and fix any errors that you've got. So as a quick recap, use as much of the 2000 character limit as you need. Do not add text for no reason. Remember, relevance. Use as many of your keywords as you can without stuffing the description. Use all your product features and benefits if possible. And remember to remove risk. Tell them about the money back guarantee and a warranty if you have one. And when you do that, add a call to action. Even if it's just to put at the bottom of the description, add to cart to grab your amazing mini bike pump or whatever it might be. So we've covered how to create your product description and how to format it. Next, you will discover how to create product images that attract and convert. Your action step, go ahead and create and save your product description in HTML form, ready for when we add it to our product all at once with all the other components. But that's it for this lesson. Take care.